I'm so glad that you have come tonight for our candidate forum. We have the League of Women Voters here. We have the League of Women Voters here who are going to be officiating, and we'll see how it's done right. So it'll be kind of exciting. I'm Judy Donahue. I'm president of Lake Travis Democrats. I'm not officially a sponsor of the event, but raise your hand if you're a member of the Lake Travis Democrats. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're here. Through the evening, we will be going through each candidate, and so it's important that you get your questions in, because there won't be any time to do it other than that. I thank you for coming, and I'm going to introduce Corey Doogan.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be up here. I am heading up our Tuscan Village Voters Group, so we're also sponsoring tonight. We welcome you, and we're so glad you're here. If you're from Tuscan Village, could you raise your hand? Good. All right.
The music, they're working on it.
Turn off.
Hidden knob somewhere.
Go ahead and dance.
It's on. Just hold it close.
Thank you everybody for being here. I love seeing so much. Hello? No, that one. One on you. Yes, Anybody need me to pick up the card?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That works. That one works.
This one works? You can hear me? Well, you can hear me this way too, can't you?
Okay, thank you all for coming. I love seeing so much civic engagement happening in our community on a Wednesday night. My name is Mindy Galati. I am the founder and president of the Lake Travis Progressives. We are sponsoring tonight's event, and we're very pleased to see such a good turnout, and hoping that all the candidates have a great opportunity to share their thoughts and perspectives on what's best for Lakeway. And I encourage you all, after today, to make sure you tell your friends and neighbors to get out and vote. These things matter, these forums, these meeting the candidates, but nothing matters more than getting out to vote. The Lake Travis Progressives are an action-focused, community-based organization that promotes inclusion, unity, respect, and decency toward all people in the Lake Travis area. Lake Travis Progressives we're entering our 3rd year, and we have a whole host of volunteers. We've done a lot of good community work, and we really are motivated to make Lake Travis a more gentle, kind place for all people, regardless of race, culture, religion, gender, sexuality, or immigration status. And with that, I'll turn it over to Carol, and we'll get started. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you so much to the sponsoring organizations. They deserve a round of applause. A lot of work goes into the beginnings of these types of organizations. A lot of work goes into the maintaining these types of organizations. So all of you are showing that you care. So we really appreciate both of these sponsoring organizations, the Lake Travis Progressives and the Tuscan Village Voters. My name is Carol Eckelkamp. I've met many of you tonight. Welcome. I am with the League of Women Voters of the Austin area. The League partners as moderators with various civic and municipal entities to provide these types of forums. The League is a membership organization. We were founded in 1919. We are a nonpartisan political organization of men and women. We don't promote and support candidates or parties. We promote informed and active civic participation. There seems to be some confusion at times. We do take up issues. We study and we take up issues, the state league, the national league, and the local leagues, all the local chapters. So we do that, and we do a lot of study on that, and then we'll put a position forward. But we really want to thank all of us here at the league, we have a number of volunteers at the table, we have a number of volunteers up here as timekeepers. We want to thank all of the citizens of Lakeway, along with the two sponsoring organizations, because of the fantastic questions that have been flooding the league's inbox. Okay, I am the curator, along with the committee, of that inbox, and we have had some phenomenal questions. So all those questions were put together by the League of Women Voters of the Austin area, and no audience member or member of these candidates have seen the questions in advance. You've seen the 3x5 cards, you're good with that. Our schedule tonight is going to be, we're going from 7 to 8, we're going to question the city council candidates, and then at 8:15 to 9:15, the mayoral candidates. So we have to give these candidates a moment to get down, and our 2 mayoral candidates to come up. I'm gonna ask that you kind of stay with us. We're gonna try to move through this. So for those of you that have not been to a forum with the league, we run a pretty tight ship. Some of you in the audience, and some of you have been with us. Candidates, you're gonna have 1 minute for your opening statements. You're gonna have 1 minute for your questions, your answers. 1 minute is really a short time, it's really a long time. So you're gonna get your thoughts together, and you're going to look here at our timekeepers, because what they have is they have a 30-second, flash up the 30-second, wrap it up, you're halfway through, okay? And so start wrapping up your thoughts, and what we're asking about is issues, okay? Now, according to the league guidelines, let me talk to you guys for a minute, okay? We ask that no applause or demonstration of support or opposition by the audience be shown, okay? And in the middle of the forum, we're gonna give these guys a great big round of applause, okay? We ask the candidates themselves also to refrain from personal attacks. But no hissing, booing, oohing, awing from them or from you, because it really helps us move this along. And it helps us to be fair and civil in our discourse tonight. As you notice, these candidates, these candidates are seated in ballot order, starting from the left all the way to the right. That is the ballot order. And for the questions, we're going to be asking them in ballot order. For the intros, we're going to start with Ms. Reichert. And Ms. Reichert, you're on. Talk into the microphone. You have 1 minute for your introduction.
Well, good evening, everyone. I appreciate you being here. We are so fortunate to live in a city that has so much intrinsic value, and we have our excellent schools, we have unique opportunities for recreation and activity, and we still have some green space that has been provided through parks and our trails, and still opportunities for expansion as we grow. We have amazingly talented and informed and engaged residents, many of whom are sitting in this building today and on this panel. So we find ourselves in a unique moment in time that we are defining who we are and where we're going. We're setting the course for future residents of Lakeway. Perhaps it's one of the perks of maturity, but we can no longer, we have to look forward towards what we can do and simply, we can no longer do what is simply expedient in the moment or follow those currently at the helm with financial incentives. We have,
And we're going right now. Please introduce yourselves and tell us in just in 1 minute, and look at your timekeeper as you're going through.
Hello everybody. My name is Sean Sutton, and I'm running for City Council. I moved to Lakeway here. Hi, hello everybody. I'm Sean Sutton, and I moved to Lakeway just under 10 years ago. I put 3 of my 4 children through school here. The first thing I did when I got here was I joined the Lakeway Board of Education for Lakeway Schools, and I served there for 3 years. It really got me a really good in-depth relationship and association with how wonderful our schools were. The next thing I did was I joined the Lakeway Men's Group, and that got me a real good understanding of how this city was developed and how it came together by some of the most wonderful people in it. I'm a small business person. I am pro-business. I am pro-controlled growth, and I really like Lakeway, and I want to see the wheels stay on Lakeway, and I want to see Lakeway stay the same, and I want to be part of that. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters, the Lakeway Progressives, Lakeway Democrats, and the Tustin Village voters for coming out tonight. It's a great honor for us to be able to speak in front of you, to give us an opportunity to share our visions with each of you. If you guys weren't here tonight, this would not be able to happen. Again, my name is Gretchen Vance. I'm a business owner here in the Lake Travis area. We own an acrobatics and tumbling facility, and through my entrepreneurship and my history, my prerequisite experience in marketing, sales, and social media growth, we are, I feel like I'm in a unique position to be able to be a critical thinker and a solid decision maker on the council. We don't know where the city's going. We know we're moving forward. We don't know what these decisions are going to be. It's really important that we have decision makers who can analyze, research, and understand what these decisions could be. And my name is Gretchen Vance, and I would love to represent you in City Council. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Hello, my name is Marvin B. Since I don't know many people here, you might see a few familiar faces. I'm just going to give you my biography as quickly as I can. I grew up in Austin. My family moved there in '64. I graduated high school from Lanier High School in Austin. I moved out here in 1993 to raise my kids. They went through the Lake Travis school system and loved it. Lakeway's changed tremendously since those days, and hopefully we can keep the quality of life that we have currently, and we can keep it going the way we are. Again, I've been here 26 years. I grew up out here water skiing, so I love the lake. I know that's kind of like the end of the world out here. Obviously, we're not going to grow on the lake, so we only can grow north, south, and east. If there's any growth, kind of limited in my way. I'm not a politician, and you might ask, well, why I'm running. I want to keep the quality of our life at least equal to what we have, if not better. Things that I think are really important here are we have a little overdevelopment, our traffic, our wildlife, and let's keep our taxes low. Great.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm Doug Howell, and I'm running for City Council. I'd like to thank Carol and your group, the League, for sponsoring this, Judy, your group, Mindy, your group, for having us tonight. It's a great opportunity to meet you guys and for you to meet us. My grandparents were FDR Democrats. They voted straight ticket for their whole lives. I was probably in my 20s before I knew that there was any other way to do it. They never voted issues, they never voted candidates, which I think those things are important. So tonight, you're going to have an opportunity to see, we're going to play a little bit of, I think, pin the issue to the candidate, which is a good thing. And it's a worthy way to make a decision on who's going to represent you in City Council. But hopefully what I show you tonight is how I make decisions. Because at the end of the day, we're going to face some upcoming issues that we don't even know about today. And it's going to be important to understand how candidates take in information and make decisions. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Sanjeev Kumar and I am running for City Council. I will thank everybody, the sponsors, the organizers, and most of all of you who are here to hear us speak. I will not go too long in the biography. My data is out there. Go to my website at kumar2019.com and read about me. All I will say is I have a successful track record in technology, in law, in being an entrepreneur, and leading and managing large, diverse organizations. I have negotiated with the best. I have come to win-win conclusions. I believe Lakeway is at a point where decisions today are going to have a very long-term impact. I hope to bring my skills and help the city preserve the character and go for even a better Lakeway in the future. So that's why I'm here and that's why I'm running. Thank you all for coming.
I'm Lisa Butler, and I'm a candidate for Lakeway City Council. I was inspired to run this year because of closer. I've never been told that I should be louder. I was inspired to run this year because of the progress that I've seen being made at City Hall this year. I have lived in Lakeway since 2008. I graduated from Reagan High School and left the state
as an Army grad and everything else. And I love this community. I've been coming here since 1973, and I have a successful real estate business right down on Loman's Crossing. I've met so many different families by putting them in homes out here. And I've also given back to my community. I've been involved with Lake Travis High School. I've mentored kids, teens in business, and I've also arranged a food drive for the Lake Travis Crisis Ministry that picks up about 300 bags in Flint Rock. And thank you very much.
All right. So we will be starting in ballot order, and we will not be asking you all the same questions. What I will do at the beginning of the questions, I will let you know that for Ms. Butler and Mr. Kumar, this is your question. For Mr. Howell, Mr. Meade, and Ms. Vance, this is going to be your question. So I'm going to tell you in advance of who's going to be answering this question, but we're always going to go in ballot order. All of you will get an opportunity to start the question. You'll be the first, you'll be the last. So it does mix it up through the evening. I am gonna ask each of you, and this goes along with your intro, and I need you to be pretty specific, and you're all gonna answer this one question, is what would you most like to accomplish on the city council if you were elected? And we start with Ms. Butler. And you have 1 minute. You don't have to use the whole minute.
Great. Here we go.
There you go.
The thing that I would like to accomplish as a city council member is to have the developments that we have stick to the current comprehensive plan and control the growth based on our current comprehensive plan. So that would be low density across from the hills all the way up to HEB. It would be, there's really no retail. We have small businesses here already that are struggling. We need to set them up for success before we bring in additional commercial establishments, especially on our busy roads. So that would be what I would like to accomplish first, is getting our developments to stick to the plan. Thank you.
What I would like to accomplish. I would like to bring people together. This is one Lakeway. Lately we have had a lot of old Lakeway, new Lakeway, liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats. Doesn't matter. We all are neighbors. We all have the same interest going forward. I think Lakeway is at a juncture where decisions we take today would have very, very long time impact, and probably they cannot be undone. It involves traffic, it involves development, it involves our green spaces, it involves our wildlife. I would like to get everybody's perspective and information, find some creative solutions that are best for the city as a whole, and bring people together to come to win-win outcomes. I want to bring trust and transparency back in the government of the city. That's what I would like to achieve the most. Thank you.
So what I'd like to accomplish, I think, it's only 1 minute, so I can't cover wildlife and traffic and all the development. So I'm going to come at this from totally left field. I'm a big public safety guy. Where I used to live, the big public safety issue was earthquakes. They were unpredictable and they affected everybody. The devastation is widespread. So 3 years from now, as I'm leaving City Council, what I'd like to leave behind is a community emergency response team that's here to deal with things like wildfire, floods, especially something like a tornado. If a tornado hits this town as a category 5 and sweeps through, everybody will be impacted. I have a FEMA certification to administer and build a CERT team. So whether I win a seat on the county or on city council or not, every one of you is going to hear from me because I am going to get this team built one way or another.
I think priority-wise, as far as the city council goes, is transparency. I feel like it's headed in the right direction right now. We've got a great council as it stands right now. I think we should allow every person in Lakeway to have a voice. and be able to speak and at least have an input on everything that's voted on at the city council. That may mean tabling things when it comes to city council the first meeting, and maybe table it until the next meeting, so we have more citizens input. I'm like Doug here, I'm a public safety person, I'm from DPS, 26 years at DPS, and I'm the same way as a crime analyst. It's new police station, I think, can greatly enhance our safety here. We have a great new station. I know it costs a lot of money, but hopefully it'll last us for 30 years, and as our population grows, keep us safe in our homes.
So the question was, what is the one thing that you want to make effective change in the city council? And for me, that is the development of a new comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan we're currently working under was developed in 2003. And it was visionary at its time, but it was unpredictable to what is happening now, all these years later. Even though ZAPCO affirmed in 2014 that we want to develop as an R1 priority development, and with C1 happening out on 620, I do feel that that is something we need to consider. Currently, property taxes are 40% of our budget that the city is spending. 27% is coming from sales tax revenue. We have the ability to develop relationships with businesses to increase that revenue on sales tax, therefore keeping our property taxes at a steady rate. We want to make sure our property values are upheld through the comprehensive plan. We all want to be able to sell our homes for at least more than what we purchased them for. And we want to make sure that we are keeping our property taxes in check through the increase in sales tax revenue. Thank you.
Hi. What I would like to see most over the next few years is to really help get everybody together on the same page for what I believe all of us have in mind for Lakeway. And that being, I would like to see the roads get completed in a very, very effective way to where no one's left out, the citizens are involved, the developer has to be involved, and most importantly, the job gets done. And I'd like to see that go together and see more cooperation amongst the citizens, the developers, and city planning to get it all done together in a way that works for everybody. Thank you.
So my first, since it will be urgent, I think the first thing on the list would be to continue the communication and to bring some unity to our neighborhoods through building workshops. I've started a virtual workshop on Facebook, and I'd like to see that continue in the real world, where we can, beyond our committees, we can get people together in a room with pads and notepads and pens and round tables and just discuss what we can do for our comprehensive plan. That's going to be critical because we need to build the arterial connections through our roads. Our roads, we've created Main Street on 620. We've got to reroute traffic through our cities, and that's going to be critical, especially as we have a widening of 620 coming up. So we need to prepare for that in advance with our comprehensive plan, how we redesign our city to make it better connectivity throughout.
Thank you. The topic that all of you are going to be talking about is going to be traffic on this one. And the first question is going to go to Mr. Kumar and Mr. Howell. And the question is, in 20 years, what do you hope the transportation infrastructure in this city looks like?
20 years. I'm assuming in 20 years, Lakeway will be pretty much built out wherever, whatever the capacity is. So if we can plan for 20 years for traffic, hopefully the only problem will be the cross traffic, which is a substantial part of traffic on 620 today. I would envision a parallel route for the crosstalk traffic from not coming through Lakeway on 620. Now I know it's a big deal, but I think the only option really is to have a parallel route through Balcones Preserve. I have been told that it can be done without affecting wildlife, but I know that I'm having the ecological issues. I think 20 years is a long time, and I think we need to start working on what the alternatives are, because I am not in favor of double-deck roads or digging a tunnel in the Lakeway. We will have some inside roads to move the city internally. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with some of the things that Sanjeev said, and 60 seconds is not a lot of time. I think one thing that I would add to what Sanjeev said is I live in Rapala, and so what I see a lot, and it's getting worse, is people have discovered there's a shortcut between 71 and 620 that runs right through Lakeway. So I think in 20 years, I'm not sure there's a lot we can do. I mean, a lot of this is controlled by TxDOT, 620 and 71. But the things that we can control are here. So I would like to see some way for us to mitigate using Lakeway as a shortcut, because the shortcuts they're using are running right by our school, running right by Serene Hills, running right by Lake Travis Middle School, and it's getting worse. So if there's one thing that I'd like to see us do, it would be somehow mitigate that at least a little bit.
All right, this next question will be for Mr. Mead and Ms. Vance. And we need you to be creative here for a moment. Let's talk about moving people through Lakeway without mentioning cars. What alternative modes of transportation might you support for the future of Lakeway?
That's funny, because the first question I was thinking hovercraft. So Jetsons, think Jetsons, and that's where we're going, okay? So, wow. I mean, mass transportation is somehow we're going to have to get people from A to B, and is that going to be mass transportation and get the cars off the roads, off of 620, off of Highlands, people cutting through? We need to have the infrastructure to handle all that. We just got to get people off the roads, and whether that's some type of, I'd hate to see mass transportation out here, but that may be our only solution for this, to keep the gridlock out for 620. I go down 620 and I see all the green space between Lakeway Boulevard and Hudson Bend, and there's a lot of green space left, and those get filled up. Good luck getting to the dam and past the dam, because it's going to get over there.
So my philosophy on that is slightly different. So I feel one of the best ways we can move people around, in and around Lakeway, which is multifaceted back to increasing sales tax revenue, is to keep people inside the city by creating recreational paths as we build infrastructure. We talk about Burrell Street and Main Street connecting through to Logan Spur where the post office is, and where the new police station is. And by putting recreational paths there, it can accommodate walkers, golf carts, bicycles. That keeps people off of 620. I think we all know at 7:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock is an absolute crazy time for traffic because of the school system. The other thing is cooperating with the school system to correct the bus routes so that your child is not driving 5 miles and is on the bus for an hour and 40 minutes twice a day, 3 hours a day on the bus. So cooperating with the school district to create the bus routes that keep all of these parents like me that are on, whose child doesn't want to be on the bus for 3 hours a day. It's not about privilege, it's about time management. Thank you.
Okay, the third question, the final question under the traffic is going to be for Mr. Sutton, for Ms. Reichert, and for Ms. Butler. You three will get to answer this question. If elected, would you recommend beginning negotiations with Cap Metro to bring bus or van pool services to Lakeway? Please explain why or why not.
I believe there would be no harm discussing bringing some sort of busing service into Lakeway. It could do nothing but good if it worked out in the end. We may be able to get more employees here to help fill some of these jobs that need to be filled. There are certain people that are comfortable with riding the bus. There are a lot of people that are not comfortable with riding the bus, and I know that from having teenagers at home. They get their car and they want to drive on their own. They don't want to ride a bus. So I would support looking at that, and I think it would definitely be something worth considering. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know if our first step would be to engage Capital Metro. Obviously, they have a system, and it certainly could be a cooperative arrangement. We could consider, we could do it in stages. I feel like we should do some testing waters with the school and try to encourage school bus. I know, if we get the efficiency, I realize that's a problem if it becomes a long commute, but I think there's ways we can start with that, and we can also start with a ride and share program with buses either that we engage or some form of mass transit. I think one of the things that's really important is I know as I plan to live here forever and, retire here, I would love to have something that would take me safely into town, for events. And I think we're all gonna have to recognize that mass transit is gonna be part of a safe lifestyle for us out here as well as in town, and reducing the cars on the streets. So it definitely takes a lot of planning that we need to work on, but just a park and ride could be a good start for people that commute regularly into Austin. Thank you.
20 years.
I too agree with inviting Capital Metro to help us with a bus plan, some sort of plan out here. That's one of the ways that Target and BK is able to keep employees. They actually go down and pick them up in their own bus and bring them here twice a day and twice back. That would be a great partnership with other small businesses as well. So anything that we can do to help cut down some of the traffic and I don't know about you, but have you driven down to Austin lately? It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It used to be really a quick thing. So being able to work on my laptop or something like that while on a bus, I'd be fine with that. I've done it in DC. I've done it around the country. So I'm all for that, and I think it would be a benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to jump into economic development. And we're going to, Mr. Howell, you will start with this one. This will be Mr. Meade and Ms. Vance. This is your question. Hotel tax revenue is up near $5 million annually. What do you see as a good use for this tax revenue?
Well, that was an easy one, thank you. So the way that I understand it, the hotel occupancy tax can only be used to promote things inside that realm, inside that vertical. So only to promote other hotels or people coming here as a tourism tax. So I don't know if it's possible how far outside the lines that we can color on that. I think that should be explored. I think anything that we do it can't. So I think that it should be constrained to just the hotels that are here, getting more visitors to come to Lakeway and to promote Lakeway tourism.
I don't normally help on an answer, but there are guidelines and guardrails, so I wanted to hear your ideas of the money on what it's for.
Well, and I'm like that. I know that it's limited as to what you can spend that money on. It has to associate to tourism, hotels, and increase our tourism and get people out here and spend their money in the restaurants and any of our businesses. So I thought about this, and I don't know if we can get some type of like parks on 620 or like park or some type of thing for to bring some type of competition in for the kids. People out from all over the state of Texas maybe come in. I'm an ex-water skier. I competed in water skiing. I went to all cities and had lakes in Texas, and we brought in a lot of people for those. So I think I don't know, because we're so limited on it. I'm going to just say build something that people can use and compete with like parks.
I did want to clarify something. As of March 31st, our hotel tax account stood at $5,034,000, which is accumulation over 6 years, approximately $1 million a year. It's been growing. It started around $700,000. Now we're collecting more than $1 million a year. That is projected to increase with 2 new hotels going online. Spring Hill Suites, which is going in by the hospital, and La Quinta that is going in at the Oaks. So with that said, it's very important that we do something productive with this tax, because I feel that we are at risk for those hotels to push back against the city and say, you guys are collecting this money and it's just sitting here. The very first thing we have to do is create a strategic plan by hiring someone, which we can use the hotel tax money for, who controls how it's spent, to bring business into the city that follows those guidelines. And I feel that that is the #1 step to making sure that those funds are used in an appropriate legal manner.
Thank you for that clarification. I'll fact check Ms. Andy, the word Andy, no worries. All right, our next question is going to go for Mr. Sutton and Ms. Riker. A mission statement in the current City of Lakeway's comprehensive plan of 2003 states, "We will ensure that Ranch Road 620 and other commercial corridors are developed in a manner that reflects the uniqueness, special character, and quality of life in the City of Lakeway." Is the city meeting this goal? Why or why not?
Thank you. I believe the city is meeting the goal at this point in time. Our roads that do run down 620, when you drive it, you can see how the buildings are nicely put back. The landscaping is very nice. It's a very pleasant drive. I would not want to see it expanded to a point to where it was more of just like a highway running through there. I like the idea of rural route 620, and I think I'd like to keep it like that. And I think the city has done a very good job keeping that road looking nice and pleasant for our citizens. Thank you.
Well, I have a little different view. I think what we have created is Main Street on 620. We're putting our Main Street, I know we have another one officially named Main Street, but we've put all of our activity, all of our businesses going down a state highway. And it is reduced speed, but it's still 50 miles an hour in a corridor of a city. I have concerns about that, in addition to having, as I spoke before, about the arteries that don't connect. But I think we need to find a way to find to reduce that traffic along there. It's very dangerous. We've got to find a way to work with TxDOT if they're enlarging 620 to create perhaps separate lanes that can feed off into those businesses and keeping one in a fast lane. I really want to work with TxDOT and try to find out their plans for our immediate area, but expanding it will just create more of a highway effect. I think there's danger in that. So I think we need to find ways to curb that off of 620.
Thank you. So our next question, we're still in economic development, is Ms. Butler and Mr. Kumar, and we're going to talk a little bit about open space and development. Supporters of open space preservation and commercial developers often have opposing views to land uses. How will you work to see that both sides are adequately engaged in future land use discussions?
I don't know how I would figure out a way for them to engage, but I think everything would need to be through a city council meeting where both sides can speak like they do now.
Hold the mic closer.
But they think they're doing that. With the goals that we have here right now in Lakeway, and that is we want to support our businesses that we have, and there are for help wanted signs on just about every business sector around town. So we're not doing that. So the idea of bringing new businesses in, developing new economic revenues, it seems like we're setting ourselves up for a failure. So we need to figure out ways that we can go about doing that. One thing I just want to say about saving some money for the city, we could move the elections to November. I would say about $105,000 every year.
This is a very pertinent question and high on everybody's mind anyway. We love our green spaces, but here is the fact of life. City has very limited power to stop the owner of a property from doing something which is within the guidelines of the city's zoning laws at that particular time. City does not have to give any variances to developers, but I believe sometimes it is in the long-term best interest of the city to actually work with private developers and private owners of properties to ensure we keep our green spaces, require them to do that by allowing them to do something really different so that you can have best of the both worlds. Other thing is, parks and recreation can be an area where we can actually invest some of the tourism money, I believe, along with promotion of arts. Those are allowed items for the HOT, the Hotel Occupancy Tax, and we should look into that to see if we can use that to develop our green spaces. Thank you.
All right. For our next question, we're going to move into a little bit about quality of life here in Lakeway. And on the survey, the 2018 survey that the city did, asking for citizen input, there were top 3 items in one part of that survey were more walking trails, hiking trails, and music events, in that order. For Mr. Mead and for Ms. Vance, which of these would be a priority for you, and how would you secure funding? Oh, I'm sorry, it is, no, it's actually, did I skip?
I think he was supposed to answer the last question.
He was. Go ahead, we're gonna get you this one.
Okay. So the question is, sorry, I got confused there. So hiking trails, walking trails, and music venues.
Music events, hiking, it went walking trails 1, hiking trails 2, music events 3rd.
Right.
So which of these would be a priority for you, and how would you secure some funding?
So I think top 3 for me, or the top, I see walking trails and running trails kind of along the same line. There's some areas that might not be true, but I think that having those is certainly something that attracted us to Lakeway when we first moved here. We loved Hamilton Greenbelt. I'd love to see 1 or 2 more of those here. If you look in the comprehensive plan, it talks about the National Parks and Recreation Association has a ratio of how many per 1,000 to how many acres of parks and wildlife or parkland you need. We're still within that, but maybe we do some sort of a usage fee for those sorts of things. But the reason I would put the music venue maybe 3rd place is I'm not sure how much we would use that in May and June and July and August.
Out of those top 3, I'm going to put running and walking together, because to me, both of those, if we create more walking and running trails, we reduce building. We keep our green space, and we can enjoy our green space a little bit longer, at least while we're in council, while the current council is in office. So, as far as the arts or the music center, I certainly wouldn't go against it. I think if the city of Lakeway showed a need for it and they wanted it, I would certainly try to get that through. But just between a walking and a running, and maybe even do a biking, I think that really cuts out and slows down some development on those lands if we can purchase those. It would be great.
Thank you. So this is where we can get really creative. So here's something about the hotel tax. You hire someone who is strategic about the hotel tax, and they solicit a running group to have a 10K through Lakeway. But part of their requirements is a properly groomed trail, restrooms at certain trailheads, and then all of a sudden those asks by the company that's bringing the 10K or an endurance race now becomes eligible for hot tax expenditure. And now you're not taking that out of the $14 million general fund that the city's using. And that is really where we can get very creative. Same with a music venue. We could create a multi-purpose music venue, possibly Lakeway Park, and I'm not talking about something that seats 6,000 people. 500 people music venue, concert at the park that could also be used multi-purposes for weddings. Again, it would become eligible for hot tax funds. Thank you.
All right, so this next question will be addressed to Mr. Sutton, to Ms. Reichert, to you two. So what could you do, and this is in the same vein, okay, we're still in the citizen survey, in the top 3, walking trails, hiking trails, and music events. So what could you do as an elected official to get community involvement and buy-in to planning more walking and hiking trails and adding music events to the city calendar? What could you do as an elected official to get community involvement and buy-in in the planning for more walking and hiking trails and adding music events to the city calendar?
I believe what we really need to do is make sure people understand how important it is to get Lakeway to the next level with these type of with this type of construction, new walking trails, new hiking trails, a wonderful place to go and enjoy your family and perhaps have a lovely concert. We don't really have anything here in Lakeway that's set up for that, that's safe for a lot of cars to get in and to get out of at the same time. Maybe someplace that we could even have a wonderful fireworks display on the 4th of July. Right now we have our parade that comes through Lakeway Drive, which is wonderful. We all meet at the activity center, and then that's pretty much it. We have to go somewhere else if we all want to gather as a very large group. And I think Lakeway really needs some sort of a large area that has walking trails, hiking trails, a community gathering area that all of us could enjoy for many, many years to come. Thank you.
So, I just see the slightly different for the walking trails versus the hiking trails. We have the walking trails where we can provide safe, like Hamilton Greenbelt, where you can have various trails through various neighborhoods, where you can take your dogs and you can do your walking and feel safe in, and have it naturalized, but have a clear path to go. Then we can have more rustic areas for hiking. There's a lot of people here that like to do hiking. I've heard a lot of people have sat at the Madrones and we're in the clear Rough Howler, we're almost extinct now. There's people that want to go into more rustic settings to do hiking. So I think we should provide for that. But to get that, and for music, we need to get people engaged by, as I mentioned before, getting people involved in these committees and workshops where we actually get down. You don't have to be a part of the committee, just show up and start communicating about it. Tell us what you want, give feedback, and then support it when you get it. I think it's the naturalized, keeping anything that we can do to keep the natural here and give incentive for tourism or for special events is really an important way we can raise our funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Now this one will be for Ms. Butler and Mr. Kumar. Would you support a multi-purpose entertainment facility with parking in Lakeway?
I would have to say, first off, yes. I would support that as long as it was planned well and placed in an area that would not add more traffic to the center of Lakeway. As far as the music venues that people are used to here, they've been at City Park in the evening, on the weekend, and so I can see something like that occurring. That would work really well with our way of life and our quality of life now. The issue is getting cars in and out and disturbing the neighbors along these roads. So I think that's something that's going to require community input on what they want. As a member of the City Council, my vote is your vote. So I don't really have a vote. It's what the people want. And that's how I should be voting. So if that's what they want,
well, as you said, that was the number 3 ask in the survey. So if we really have a lot of people in the community who want to have music events, then the city should try to work on providing them a music event and a music site. Now, I don't know if it relates to exactly what the question was, a multi-purpose big music center or even performing arts center or something like that. I think a lot depends upon if we can, like Lisa said, we have to move the traffic, we have to make sure we do not lose the character of the city. If we can find a proper location that is easily accessible and people can go and it is safe, I would be in favor of that if it is the right thing for the community at large. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. We're going to go to Ms. Vance. To start with Ms. Vance, we're coming back to this end of the table. All right. So this question is going to go to Ms. Vance, Mr. Sutton, and Ms. Reichert. We're moving in, still in quality of life, we're moving into affordability for Lakeway. A popular real estate site lists the median home value in Lakeway at $449,600 and a median rent price of $2,500 a month. Do you see a need for affordable housing units in Lakeway City proper? Why or why not? Ms. Vance?
I do feel that we have some because those are averages, we obviously have some homes that are less expensive and some that are more. I do feel that we have been putting an influx. We have the apartments that just opened at Serene Hills. We have apartments that surround Lakeway proper. We just have a brand new facility that has been approved by Travis County Commission. It's going to go in right past the city limits, a little bit further down from the Lexus dealership. That is going to be a rent-based a rent-based income apartment. So if you are making a lower income, then your rent is less. Do I feel that we need that in the city? Not necessarily, but I do feel because we have it surrounding us, we are able to bring employment here into the city. I also feel to be creative with employment, which is typically the number one concern about housing prices, is to start partnering with the high school and trying to get some of our youth engaged in some of our, what we would call our entry-level jobs. Thank you.
Supporting low-income housing. No, I do not. There are plenty of places around here, if somebody wants to come to Lakeway and live and put their kids through the schools here, to find a place to rent. We do not need to build low-income housing in Lakeway. Lakeway is a destination, it's an earned place to go to. People work very, very hard to come here and buy a home. And it should stay that way. There are plenty of areas just outside of Lakeway that somebody can find a place to live. I happen to know that. That's one of my specialties, is finding people inexpensive homes to rent. And if somebody does want to buy a more entry-level home in Lakeway, they're available. And if not, they can go across the highway and get a brand new one. Thank you.
Okay, so I do think we need affordable housing in our area for lots of reasons. I would be less likely to promote just multiple locations of affordable housing units or complexes. I think that can get out of hand. But what I would think from a different direction. And part of my plan in negotiating with any residential properties that go up, that a certain percentage, part of the buyback, if you're changing a variance, if you're asking me for a variance, you need to earn it by supplying something for our city. One of those things, I've mentioned some others, but would be affordable housing, and that's to keep young adults here so they will fill our restaurants and our retail, and because we don't have the college age group, but young adults and then young families. We need to keep these young families coming through our good schools to keep those active. And then we need to keep our seniors in community. It's so important that they are able to either stay in their home or stay close by within community. And so what I would do is a certain percentage of each residential needs to be supplied with some affordable housing.
All right, we're gonna, Ms. Butler and Mr. Kumar, this is your question. And when we talk about affordable units, we're not always talking about the low income units. There are ranges of median house pricing and housing programs. So what is the city's role in building and or attracting developers to build affordable units for purchase and rent in the city limits?
Again, I think it has to follow the comprehensive plan, where we have development, residential development, and it needs to fit with what we have going. For instance, across from in a city center, that's an R1, so that is one house per lot. So putting townhouses there or apartments there would be against what all of the people in Lakeway have asked for. I mean, that's what they want, is to keep green. So we do have affordable places. It's been, we have certainly down World Tennis area. We've got some affordable places as well already, and it may be that I just don't know where we could actually build something like that because of our plan.
Mr. Kumar. The city's role in building or attracting developers to build affordable units for purchase or rent.
I think city's role is not to attract developers. City's role is to provide the amenities to the residents and the businesses that are in the city. Now we know we have a problem that local businesses cannot attract or retain workers. I think it's a mixture of a number of things. I think Gretchen pointed out, our high school kids don't work as much as maybe we can encourage them to. But here's the thing, even our current comprehensive plan, which I know could not have expected to see the kind of growth we have had in the last 15 years when they were planning it. Even that plan encouraged medium density development in our ETJ. I think we can do that. The city can encourage that kind of development. Frankly, we have a lot of area across from 620 which can use some facelift. And it is outside the city's limit, it's not even in our ETJ. So it is not that a developer has to build real low income housing only in Lakeway city limits to be able to provide that housing. Thank you.
All right.
Me again. Sorry.
It's yours? Yes.
Oh, I'm answering this one. Do I get another one?
I think you have been lost in the show.
Is it the shirt? Do you hate the shirt?
So you are on the next question.
Okay.
You and Mr. Meade.
Okay.
As a city leader, what steps could you take to ensure teachers, public safety, and public sector employees